Double game week 25 has now been announced for both Liverpool and Man City, as well as the blank game week 26 and a potential double in game week 28. So we need to discuss all of these FPL announcements alongside my game week 24 transfer plans. So in this video, we are going to be discussing exactly that. So as always, if you are looking forward to today's video, please do consider dropping a like, aim for 300 on this video. And also, we're so close to 12,000 subscribers. If you could smash the subscribe button, it is massively appreciated. So that's enough chit chatting. Let's get into today's video. So first up, let's take a look at how my team is currently getting on for game week 23. It's really handy to show you this because I imagine you do probably have some players that I have in my team. So it's a good reference point, especially when we are looking at maybe selling some of those players. So first up, currently on 43 points. It's a little bit of a disaster right now. I did roll my free transfer and I do have Foden and Erling Haaland captaincy still to play. I'm hoping one or two things. Either both score hat-tricks and I get a green arrow, or one of them doesn't play at all and Garnacho comes off the bench for that 16-pointer. I cannot believe I have him on my bench, but realistically I wasn't going to start him ahead of anybody in my 11. So I'm not going to talk about the team really because it's been a bit of a disaster. Captaincy on Haaland basically to save my week. But the two that I want to talk about right now is the injury updates regarding Bukayo Saka and Anthony Gordon. Now first up, Bukayo Saka. This quote here is taken from a journalist from The Independent, and he has stated that, this is from Arteta, he thinks he should be fine, he just got a kick to the ankle. When you watch the game, he did walk off a little bit gingerly, but nothing terrible. So if it wasn't imperative already, holding those transfers till later on is always the right move. And I'm going to reiterate that here, especially with someone like Bukayo Saka. And if you didn't know already, and we're going to touch on this in the next section for the fixtures, Arsenal assets are either going to become essential or easy sells depending on the game versus Aston Villa and Chelsea in the FA Cup fourth round replay. I will cover that off in a minute. Now in terms of Anthony Gordon, this is the latest from Eddie Howe, but we need to remember Eddie Howe is a little bit of a liar. He has said it looked like he twisted his ankle, he was in a lot of pain at half time, so he had to come off. No idea how long, it was sore enough for him to come off. That's his decision. So again, hopefully we'll get some updates regarding Eddie Howe, or at least some people in the know about the injury status of him coming into the weekend. But a bit of a shame with Anthony Gordon because he's such an amazing value pick in FPL and he plays in blank game week 26. So he's a really good asset, but he could be a potential sell if it looks like he could be out for maybe for a month. So that's the latest on the team and those updates. Let's get straight into these fixtures and the double and blank game week announcements. Okay, time for fixtures because we're in the business end of FPL right now. If you don't keep an eye on the updates for double and blank game weeks, you're going to get toast in FPL. As simple as that, because engaged managers know what's coming up in the foreseeable future, and those managers that are able to navigate these game weeks are going to win. Simple as that. So shout out to Ben Crellin over on Twitter. If you don't follow him already, he is the GOAT when it comes to fixture planning. So please do take it out. This is the graphic that I've taken from him. Please do not sue me. So we need to take a look at double game week 25, blank game week 26, and the potential double in 28. So first up, we knew double game week 25 was going to be for Brentford and Man City. You can see that in the yellow, but we've officially had the announcement for a double game week for Liverpool and Luton. Now, Liverpool is the big one here because we knew game week 24 was fantastic at home against Burnley, but now they have Brentford away and Luton at home. I currently sit there with just a Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I definitely need to get an attacker in my team. Now, of course, the problem with navigating Liverpool assets is they blank in game week 26. So please do understand, if you are going to go triple up on Liverpool, just note that you'll then have 3 players blanking in game week 26. So that may force you to free hit. That is not my advice. I would not free hit in game week 26, or look to maybe sell a few Liverpool players after game week 25. So just know Liverpool players are basically becoming essential going into double game week 25. We already knew the situation with Man City, but if you didn't, they double in game week 25 and importantly have a decent fixture in game week 26, which is a blank for a lot of other teams. So game week 25, we kind of know the gist of it now. Target Man City and Liverpool. And somebody like an Ivan Toney is fantastic as well. Now, looking at blank game week 26, we know that is definitely a blank for Chelsea, Liverpool, Luton and Spurs. So if you own those players, I don't think we need to sell them right now, but you do need to understand that if you're tripling up on Liverpool, you maybe got somebody like a Palmer, Pedro Porro, Richarlison. Game week 26 is going to become very difficult to hold on to all of those players. Now, the curveball that has been announced by a few content creators, but not officially by the Premier League, is a potential double in game week 28, which is going to include Bournemouth and Luton. So we could be in a situation right now where Luton double in 25, blank in 26, but then double in game week 28. And there are some fantastic differentials at cheap prices, the likes of Doughty in defence and Adebayo in that forward line. So we need to monitor those players if that double game week 28 gets announced. And of course, a double in 28 for a certain Dominic Solanke at home to Sheffield United and at home to Luton. Now, I know a lot of people are selling the Solanke right now to bring in Darwin Núñez as a transfer that I'm considering, but we do need to double think that, because even though he doesn't double in 25, he plays in game week 26 and he doubles potentially in game week 28. Now, last up, the thing that we need to cover right now is this massive potential blank game week 29. Now, for those who don't know, Villa versus Chelsea is happening mid-week, and the loser of that game is going to play in game week 29. And this comes back to why I think Arsenal assets, you need to hold on to them until after that game. If Chelsea lose against Aston Villa, and we are probably expecting that, Chelsea versus Arsenal will happen in game week 29. So all of a sudden, somebody like a Bukayo Saka, if he is confirmed fit for game week 24, I think we need to hold on to him. He plays in game week 26, which is a blank, and he will play in game week 29, which is also a blank for a lot of teams. So Arsenal and Chelsea assets, hold on to them until after that game. If Villa lose, then Villa versus West Ham will be the game that plays in game week 29. Great news for the likes of Watkins, Douglas Luiz, or Jared Bowen. So hopefully that's covered off regarding the fixtures. People like an Ivan Toney are fantastic because he doubles in 25, plays in 26, and is guaranteed to play in 29, and he needs to be on everybody's radar. But if you have any questions about the fixtures, let me know in the comments and I'll answer them. So moving back to my potential game week 24 transfers, one transfer that I am looking to do is Dominic Solanke to Darwin Núñez. Now, as I discussed, I don't necessarily want to sell Dominic Solanke because he plays in game week 26, albeit a tricky home fixture against Man City, and he also potentially doubles in game week 28. And similar to Darwin Núñez, he is likely going to blank in game week 29. But over the next 5 game weeks, I think they both have very similar fixtures. It's just a case of Darwin Núñez having such a fantastic game week 24 fixture at home against Burnley, and of course this fantastic double followed by that blank, which obviously makes it a bit more difficult. So first up, taking a look at Dominic Solanke. The last 5 game weeks, the underlying numbers have dipped off a little bit, but he's still a talisman in this Bournemouth team. 0.43 XG per 90, 0.12 expected assists per 90. Now, I've noted here, the great thing about him is that he plays in blank game week 26, and he has a potential double in game week 28. The bad thing, tricky upcoming fixtures. Fulham away is okay, but then of course Newcastle away, I know they conceded 4 goals against Luton, but I still don't think it's a great fixture. And then of course Man City at home. They could score against Man City, but it's not a great fixture. But then after that, you're going to want him back in your teams. Burnley away, and then that potential double game week. Taking a look at Darwin Núñez, the last 5 game weeks, 1.02 XG per 90 is just outrageous. Now, it's worth noting, Dominic Solanke obviously looks terrible in comparison to Darwin, but there aren't many forwards that can keep up with the underlying numbers of Darwin Núñez because he is just an absolute freak of nature when it comes to big chances. And 0.35 expected assists per 90. So his all-round game is probably one of the best in terms of FPL forwards. And it's why it's really difficult to ignore him because, as I've quoted here, great game week 24 fixture at home against Burnley, who shipped a bag full of goals against Man City, and I could see Liverpool doing the exact same against them. And also a guaranteed double in game week 25, away against Brentford and at home against Luton. Now, I know Luton are putting in good performances against the big teams, but they're not keeping clean sheets. Whenever you look at the great games, they're still conceding 2, 3, 4 goals. Yes, they're scoring, but they're still conceding a lot. So Solanke to Darwin Núñez over the next 2 game weeks looks an absolute no-brainer. You just get it done because you're getting an extra fixture and you're getting amazing fixtures for one of the best FPL forwards in terms of underlying numbers. The problem is, from game week 26 onwards, Darwin Núñez becomes a problem because if game week 29 is officially a blank for Liverpool, you're basically going to have blank, Forest away, City at home, blank. And then it doesn't really look that appealing. So To conclude, I do think Solanke to Darwin Núñez is worth it for the next 2 game weeks, but if you can then roll your transfer in game week 25, I think that's a really powerful position to be in. The reason being is you can then use one of your free transfers to move away from Darwin Núñez back to somebody like a Solanke in game week 26 or an Ivan Toney if you think that he's a better long-term option for your FPL teams. I think the hop-on, hop-off strategy is actually beneficial. Could Darwin Núñez outscore Solanke by a ton of points? And I think he's one of the few assets that definitely could over that period. And for that very reason, I think it is worth making that move. But again, if you are in a position where you maybe need to free up funds or you don't have a luxury transfer, you need to know that Dominic Solanke holding him over this period is absolutely fine. So looking ahead to my current team for game week 24, the starting 11 is okay. I've got 2 free transfers, 3.4 million in the bank. We still got that question mark regarding Bukayo Saka, but with Garnacho available in my team, I've simply put Gordon on the bench. And as I discussed, I need to wait for a lot of things to happen before even considering what to do with my team. The first thing, the outcome of the Chelsea-Villa game. If we were to have doubts about Saka this weekend, and of course Chelsea win that game, it means that Arsenal will blank in game week 29 and Saka could miss this weekend, and all of a sudden he may become an easier sell for my team, and then suddenly maybe a Bukayo Saka up to a Kevin De Bruyne makes a lot of sense. But until we get that news and the FA Cup replay, I don't even want to consider selling Bukayo Saka in my team because I think long term he's such a great option. So the starting 11 looks okay. I have a few question marks about Trent, but he's such a great option. I don't think Klopp's going to keep him out of the team. I know Conor Bradley is doing really well, but I just don't think Trent's necessarily just going to be bombed out the team all of a sudden. But it's one to monitor. Gabriel away against West Ham, it's okay. Porro at home against Brighton. I do have worries about the Spurs defence, but Porro I think is one to monitor right now and maybe one to sell later down the line, but not for this game week. I don't think it is imperative. And looking at the midfield, Foden at home against Everton, I've discussed this controversially and said that I do think Foden is a potential sell if he does tonight play on the right wing and not really be in and amongst the action. If Kevin De Bruyne is hogging all of the big opportunities from a chance creation, maybe Foden can be my cash cow to De Bruyne, but it does feel very sideways. Palmer is fine for now, even though Chelsea are horrendous. And the front line, we've discussed it. I think Dominic Solanke to Darwin Núñez, because I have 2 free transfers, is the logical move. It will give me another Liverpool asset for this brilliant home fixture against Burnley, and it also prepares me really well for the double game week 25. So looking at the team right now, I'm going to show you what my team will look like with that transfer and maybe the other move I'm considering. So with that intended transfer, Solanke to Darwin Núñez, my team would look like this, and I'll be really happy with it. But as I mentioned, I still have 1 free transfer and 2.9 million in the bank. And this is where whatever direction the FA Cup replay goes and also the update on Saka will dictate what direction I go in. First up, if Saka sounds fine, I'm going to keep him. And then the consideration would be, do I sell Anthony Gordon for Diogo Jota? I'd have the money available, and then it would mean Garnacho coming in as first sub, and then, of course, upgrading Gordon to Diogo Jota for the next 2 game weeks, and he would start in place with Garnacho. If we get news that maybe somebody like a Saka is ruled out, and he then blanks in game week 29, a potential transfer I may consider is doing Saka up to Kevin De Bruyne. I would have the money available, and that feels like a really powerful upgrade. And then I'll be going into this game week with triple Man City in preparation for the double in game week 25. And I'll still have 2 Liverpool assets, so I do feel like I'm absolutely missing out, and I'd also be well prepped for the blank game week 26, not carrying a triple Liverpool combination. So that is going to depend on what direction the FA Cup goes. Another curveball I could do is maybe sell Saliba for a Kyle Walker, but once again, if Arsenal were to play in the blank game week 29, maybe holding Saliba long term is going to be quite a powerful position to be in later down the line. So lots to decide, but one transfer I'm almost 90% sure I will be doing is Dominic Solanke to Darwin Núñez. And importantly, let me know what your transfer plans are in the comments section. Yes guys, okay, that is going to wrap up today's Game Week 24 transfer plans video. Hopefully that has helped some of you out for maybe those that are in a similar situation to myself. I will be dropping the Game Week 24 preview tomorrow, so as always, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're aiming for 12k in this video. It'd be awesome to have you on board for the back end of this season. And as ever, If you did enjoy the video, please do consider smashing a like. If you have any questions, pop them in the comment section. I make sure I answer all of them. And that just leaves me to say have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Cheers.